My name is Haningi Huntlo Nathaniel, and I'm doing this testimony from Jos Plateau State of Nigeria. Last year, I was diagnosed of cancer. It all started when I traveled home for my brother's burial. And on my way back, I fell ill. So I was on and off until around August, when I discovered a lump on my left breast, so I decided to see a doctor. I got to the hospital, the doctor looked at me and he said that it was not something serious. It doesn't look serious, but that we are going to remove it. I was like, okay. At the same time, I was having a burning sensation on my right side. So I told him about it. He was like, it is an appendix, so we are going to remove it altogether. So the operation was carried out, and after some weeks, I went back to see the doctor. As usual, the sample was taken for investigation. So when I got there, the doctor was like, I'm sorry, I don't have a good news for you, that the sample taken from my breast shows that it was suspicious. I was like, okay, what next to do? He was like, okay, what to do was for him to carry out a, what they call it, mastectomy or something. I was like, but you said it's suspicious. Why don't we confirm it first? He was like, okay, yeah, we can still take it for another investigation. So it was taken again for investigation. After 2 weeks, they brought it back. They said it was showing triple negative. That's the name of the cancer. And triple negative is a dangerous kind of cancer that is aggressive. So what to do next was to carry out mastectomy immediately. You know, just as I earlier said, I lost my brother. He had a kidney issue. And that was when I was introduced to NSPPD. But, you know, so after then, I was not following the NSPPD again. But this time around, every morning, I will see the link again on my phone. It was sent to me by a customer. Her name is Amina. She will always send it in the morning. So when I saw it, I was like, one of the days, I decided to open up to her. And I told her, I said, this is it. I was diagnosed with cancer and everything. She was like, Mama, just keep watching this. People receive their healings and everything. Keep watching it. Your time will come and you'll give your testimony. I was like, amen. So that was how I started religiously following the NSPPD before I traveled down to Abuja. And when I got to Abuja, it was an opportunity for me to visit Streams of Joy. So I went there like 3 times and I had an encounter. For the 3 times I went, it was powerful. And when I got there, she called me, were you able to see Papa? I said the atmosphere was fine, was okay for me. I don't need to see Papa. This atmosphere was okay. Papa, when I got to Abuja, there was a lot of investigation. At the end of everything, they said if I can afford it, I should go for PET scan in Lagos. So we traveled for the PET scan. And before then, Pastor, I will say something. On the 29th of November, you said we should bring out our reports, all the negative reports. We should bring it out and keep it close to our devices. And you prayed and you reversed it. And you said whatever it is, you're reversing it, all the negative results. I keyed into it. And before that one, a lady came from Kaduna. She was live on NSPPD. She testified of how God reversed everything. Cancer. I was like, I keyed into it too. Another lady came out and talked about 2 siblings that were cancer, that were going through the same problem. And Pastor, you said something. You said, if God can heal 2 at once, He can heal you that has 1. I keyed into it. Pastor, I keyed and keyed and keyed until one of the keys opened the door for my own testimony. So when the result came out, it still shows that it was cancer, a triple negative cancer. at this point, Pastor, it was terrible. That was how I was connected to an oncologist. So he looked at me, he said, this is 6 months down the drain. There's little, if I discover you have cancer, there's little or nothing I can do for you because this is an aggressive kind of cancer. So when he was done talking and everything with the examination, he looked at me, he said, I'm sending you for scan and everything, all those procedures, you know. So I looked at him and I said, Pastor, doctor, he said, yes. I said, do you believe in miracle? He looked at me and he laughed sarcastically. He said, yes, but first of all, I'm a doctor, you know. I was like, okay, if you don't, I said, start believing because you are going to use my case as one of your cases in the hospital as a miracle. He smiled and I left. Pastor Jerry, I went. They did the scan and all the procedures, you know, and everything, all the tests that I needed to do. We finished, came back to him. And he saw that my vitals were still okay. At that point, he decided, he said he's taking me back to the theater. And that the only thing to do was to take a sample from that same place. Since that one was checked here and another was checked in Abuse area, the other one was even out of the country, you know, Mikio people and everything. He said, and it's still showing cancer, so we have to take you back. So he took me back to the theater. On that day, I was listening to Papa. I entered into the theater with it, came out. So one of the days you were saying, you don't know why you're saying this, that we should laugh. Papa, I found myself laughing. I laughed my life out. I couldn't control it. One of the days, I saw you in my dream. There was a fence. We were all fenced with iron. And you were coming, praying for all these youths and sending them out. The door, you asked them to open the door, so the door was open. It was fenced with iron, but the door was opened by you. You were commanding the people to go. After praying for them, you were asking them to go. When it reached my point, Papa, you didn't tell me anything. You didn't even pray for me. You just went ahead and you asked me to follow. And I followed and I saw myself, I was out of the place. Another day again, I saw you in my dream. You were asking me, oh yeah, write your prayer point. So that day in my dream, I wrote everything. So after writing everything, I now discovered that I didn't write the cancer thing. I was like, So I came back to look for a space to write. I couldn't find it. And there I got the interpretation that there's no cancer. So what do you want to write? I woke up, I was excited. It was on the 12th that Papa said something. He said, write the list of all those things you don't like. You want to expire in your life. Write the dates as 13th. Papa, I wrote, cancer expired on the 13th of April. And I was to see them on the 13th of April. When I got to the hospital, I entered the consultation room. There were 4 in the room. So the doctor heard my voice. He was like, oh, madam, you are here. Why are you excited? I said, I don't even know. He said, thank God. I sat down by the side. So he asked one of the doctors to take care of me. He was like, report her results directly to me. So he looked at me and he was going through my history and looking at me. He was like, madam, you mean you went through all those things? I said, yes. He now said, congratulations. The sample taken from your breast shows that it was not cancerous. So go live your life. No more chemo, no more any treatment. Go and live your life. I screamed. I said, Hearing me shouting, the doctor now asked, that's the professor. He now said, read the result out for me. He read the result for him. He was like, this is good news. I asked him, I said, sir, did you say good news? He said, yes. Pastor, I screamed. I shouted. I asked him, can I give you a hug? He said, yes. I gave him a hug. I gave all of them a hug. Came back, I was crying. I said, what God cannot do does not exist. So he looked at me, he said, I want to see you. I now went. He looked at me and he said, madam, congratulations. I'm happy for you. But you know what? This is my testimony, Pastor. The this is the main testimony. He said, you know what? I said, no. He said, it is good news for you. He said, but me, like this, I am thrown in the state of confusion because I've never seen a thing like this. He said, it has never happened before. He said, in his years of experience as a professor, he has not seen a thing like this. That was when I remind him of what I told him the other day. I said, do you remember what I told you? I said, you're going to use my case as an example. He laughed. He said, yes, I remember. But you know, I'm not here as a miracle worker. I am a doctor. And we laughed over it. And that is my testimony. What God cannot do does not exist.
We are the family the Lord has shown mercy. Pastor Jerry, we are testifying from the United States of America. My name is Olivia Ayong. This is our son, Bryce Engel.
And my name is Ignatius Teti.
My husband. Pastor Jerry, Bryce was diagnosed with cancer of the bone marrow November 2021. And he was on chemo for about 4 months. And then the doctors said chemo did not respond to the type of tumor he had, and he was left with no treatment. The only option they said was to amputate his arm, which we refused. And we have been following you because we learned about your ministry from my sister who lives in Dubai. So we follow you all night. Even Bryce, who is usually on chemo, he will follow you as from 2 a.m. here in the United States. So when you came to Houston, when we learned you were coming to Houston, we left Maryland to Houston. And we were up the stage to mention about Bryce's case. And these are the images, the scans from the hospital, that they say no doctor could cure Bryce, no medication could cure him. Whatever could be the solution was just the amputation. We refused, and they reported us to the government, and they were threatening us to take our son to give him to foster care. So we key to the word each time when you mention that cancer of the bone marrow is really key to this word of knowledge. Bryce is now, to the glory of God, Bryce is cancer-free. Cancer-free today. What God cannot do
does not exist.
What God cannot do
does not exist.
How can I shout? How can I shout?